everyone, welcome back to the Huddle, brought to you by PlayAZ. My name's Nicole, here with a very special guest, Grant Lucas, who will be filling in for Ian St. Clair this week. Welcome, Grant. We are very excited to have you.
That is the nicest use of special I have ever been given before. So thank you. It's great to fill in. I'm sure I'll do a lot better than Ian does, but I doubt it.
Well, we'll see. Obviously you're going to be picking for him this week. So if you want to sabotage and help my record, or, obviously Ian hopes that your prop pick goes swimmingly this week, but we'll see.
We'll see.
You are very festive into the holiday spirit. I love the sweater.
I had to. I mean, it's Christmas time, holiday time.
Are you a Seahawks fan?
No, they're just the closest team. And this was a gift. I can't not wear it. But
what is your team, by the way, just so we know?
Carolina Panthers.
Oh, okay. Are they bad?
They don't sell those here.
They don't sell them here. That's all right. I'm a Steelers fan in Las Vegas, so they don't really sell much of that here as well. But all right, I love the festive. I wore my green too. We have our holiday party tomorrow actually at work, so we're getting in the spirit. But all right, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into the worst of the week. Now, normally we do a horrible call or a horrible play, but this week I'm going to change it around a little bit, and I'm going to go with the absolutely apocalyptic like weather that we saw for Monday Night Football with the New England Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills. The snow, the wind, I mean, it truly looked like something day after tomorrow. And before we get into it, if you happen to miss the game, just go ahead and take a look. But yeah, this was something that I couldn't even believe a football game could be played in. And then even worse on top of that was we had coworkers that paid actual US dollars to go sit in that game and watch it. So it was
not only that, they went there early.
They tailgated in that weather.
Spent the day.
Yeah. I've personally said I feel like it should be illegal to watch football in that weather. I am a Las Vegas and California girl, so I've never really had to deal with that. But I think that we can never say that Buffalo Bills fans are fair weather fans, because they also said it was the most fun they've ever had at a football game, which I find hard to believe.
No, and then nothing's going on the field. Like, the most exciting thing was that a warm-up kick got blown, looked like Scott Norwood field goal in pregame. And then the opening kickoff that went like 10 rows. Those are like the two most exciting. Oh, and that big Damian Harris run. 3 exciting things all night.
If you were in the stands and were able to catch that ball, we actually have a video of it, so take a look. The ball sailed. I mean, it wasn't one of those things where it bounced and then went into the stands. The wind just took it straight into the stands. We actually have a video of it, so you can take a look at that really quickly.
In the second half, they may be trying to get that in the fourth quarter. Ball in the air and into the crowd.
But yeah, it was a lot of ground game for the Patriots, not a lot of throwing. I do feel bad. Our coworkers are Buffalo Bills fans, so I felt bad. They went out there in the weather to try to support, and the team couldn't get it done for them. But I will say, if you were a bettor on that game and you had Mac Jones under passing attempts or passing yards, congratulations, because that hit without even a little bit of a teeny bit of a sweat. That was such a lock for you. FanDuel had his passing attempts set at 29.5, and they had his passing yards at 201.5, and he had 3 attempts for 19 yards. So congratulations, Mac Jones under bettors.
And such great efficiency on his part too. I mean, with those 3 attempts, you got to make them all count. You can't throw them away. And
I mean, people were really hating on Mac, but they won the game, and it's like, I wouldn't want to throw in that weather either. I wouldn't want to play in that weather. I wouldn't want to spectate in that weather. So get in, get out, get the job done. And that's what they did. But do you have anything to add to that game?
Well, I'm just glad that Mac Jones didn't turn into Kirk Cousins at the end of the game and just start yelling, "You like that?" on his way out the door, like he had anything to do with
correct. Like, Mac Jones at least knew his role, which was basically nothing in that game.
Yeah.
But hey, It's a team. Okay. It's a team.
I'm going to
sport.
transfer this ball to this guy. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I'm going to be just the middleman.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm sorry, Buffalo fans. They have another big matchup coming up. So hopefully they'll be able to turn it around. And I think you have a worst of the week as well.
I do. And mine's kind of dovetailing off yours. I love seeing, well, that's not true. It's a double-edged sword. I love and I hate seeing the number of parlays and big money parlays that come out of this. And there were a couple that really relied on this one game that clearly needed Mount Everest Sherpas to get these teams anywhere close to the end zone. And the first was a FanDuel user who had a 9-leg same game parlay in this Monday Night Football game.
Okay.
Every single leg were receivers under receiving yards. And he went $20 that turned into nearly $10,000.
Okay. I mean, we've said it before on here. Same game parlays are fun. I'm glad that he only put up $20 because the odds of a nine leg same game parlay hitting are slim to none. So congratulations.
And all like receivers. So
yeah, exactly. But I'm sure you have one on the other side of the token.
Oh boy, do I! And this was one
didn't hit.
This one, I mean, this one did catch the world. As a lot of people were watching it because there were some live updates on it that a DraftKings bettor had a 12 leg parlay. It was alive and well heading into Monday Night Football. All he needed was for the game to hit over 41.5 points. And throughout the game, DraftKings and this bettor were doing like live streams about his cash out option. And fortunately, he did take the cash out of over $1,000. But at one point, that $2.85 bet, that $2.85 bet was about to become 16,000. And he had cash out options of 7, 6, 5, 4.
Oh, and he went all the way down to 1.
He did, but on $2. So we'll give him where he was. Anyway, my actual worst, aside from an honorable mention of the Lions actually winning a game, it should be a positive, but
hey, they weren't technically winless. I guess winless. They weren't. I don't know. They had they weren't. Yeah, with my team. So
thank you, Pittsburgh.
Yes, thank you for helping the Lions out.
But my worst actually goes to the Houston Texans, who are on a really amazing streak of inability to play football correctly. They lost 31-0 against the Colts. It is their second shutout of the season. They were blanked 40-0 against Buffalo in week 4. This was Indianapolis's first road shutout in almost 30 years. And
I did not know that actually.
From the get-go, Houston was really in trouble. The very first play of the Texans' first drive was Tyrod Taylor throwing an interception. The next drive, Houston's fourth play of that drive, was a Pharaoh Brown fumble, and it did not go better from there.
I was gonna say it didn't turn around from there.
No, there was no coming back. And they're so, I don't know. It's their second loss to the Colts this year. They lost 31-3 a couple weeks ago. Since this is my favorite thing about Houston.
Hard when 31-3 is a better performance.
It's weird, but this is my favorite thing about Houston. They were up 14-3 against the Jets last week. Since then, they have gone 6 quarters and over 100 minutes without scoring a point. So good job, Texans.
That's probably worse than my worst of the week. Sometimes I complain about my team and then I forget that there are fans that have teams like this. I believe I looked up just for fun because I went to a Steelers game in Los Angeles a few weeks ago, and it always just blows my mind how much these Steelers tickets can command in markets that are nowhere near the home fan base. But we do know Steelers fans travel well. But I looked up, I'm going to be in Atlanta over the holidays, and I looked up the December 26th game, and those tickets I believe were $28 a piece, and I think Houston is even lower than that. And it's like to the point where the Ticketmaster fees are now more than the actual Texans tickets. So I guess the good thing is if you've never been to an NFL game and you really want to see one on a budget, go to a Texans game because it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. But yeah, I think the fans they're overpaying for parking and fees to watch that.
Yeah, that's where they get you.
That's where they get you.
That's where they get you. Those processing fees, convenience fees, which are...
Yes, I'm not sure what the convenience of you sending me an email is, but sure, I'll pay you $10 to do that. Exactly. But yeah, I will agree with you. When it comes to, I mean, mine was weather, but when it comes to actual play, it is harder to get worse than the Lions and the Texans. Anything else you'd like to hammer while we are on this topic?
No. I mean, the other two shout outs I have are actually good things. So,
so it's the wrong segment for you. Yeah. All right. Then without further ado, we're taking it into Take It to Twitter. This one is a little personal for me. Earlier, Adam Schefter announced that Ben Roethlisberger had told friends and family close to him that this could potentially be his last season in the NFL. Now, I have been pretty vocal on Twitter myself about Ben not performing so hot this season and probably not the last few seasons. But as a fan in my 20s, this is our franchise quarterback. I mean, he's taken us to 3 Super Bowls. He's won 2 Super Bowls with the team. It's going to be sad to see him go. And it's frustrating because the Steelers have done absolutely nothing to foster a replacement for after he's gone. I think, we've known that his time is limited for quite some time now. And we have Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins, which I don't think instills confidence in any fan or, anyone that knows anything about football. And we're in a little bit of a conundrum because I think a lot of fans don't really feel confident about the 2022 draft class. And so they're unsure, like, do you try to go with someone in this draft class, or do you wait it out and try to find a short-term solution? I'm not really sure what the best answer is. I mean, Mason Rudolph is not the future of any team. Maybe he can get us through one season, but I don't think anyone would be excited about that season. But let's have Ben. I mean, Ben's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. Let's talk about some of his stats throughout his career, if this happens to be his last career. 410 touchdown passes, which is eighth all time. 62,870 passing yards, 6th in league history. He's also started in 241 career games and won 2 Super Bowls with the team. And he basically said, listen, I've thrown probably 1 million passes and your shoulder starts to wear down. He's not Tom Brady. He's not going to be playing till he's 50. He's suffered a lot more injuries. So it's bittersweet. I think it's his time, but I really don't know what the future of the team holds because they really haven't looked into the future for that position.
Yeah, the Steelers have been kind of, spoiled in a way since the 70s, in the 80s, when Terry Bradshaw. But so they had Terry Bradshaw, Cordell Stewart, Ben Roethlisberger, and 3 amazing franchise quarterbacks. But people forget the couple of years in between all of these guys. They forget. Wasn't it Charlie Batch who was?
Can we say Cordell Stewart was great?
I thought he was. It was a brief window.
And then he went to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. That was where he went after.
But of all the quarterbacks between Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger, you'd take Cordell Stewart over like Charlie Batch, or wasn't Neil O'Donnell or something like that?
I would take Cordell Stewart over Charlie Batch for sure. Yeah, listen, we are spoiled fans. We've had 3 head coaches in the last
it's absurd
3 decades
since Chuck Noll took over.
Exactly. So, from that sense, if we really have to have one mediocre, I would say our season this season is mediocre, but if we have one bad to mediocre season, how much can you really complain? But it is frustrating in the sense that the writing's been on the wall with Ben, I would say, for the last at least 3 years. And it just seems like there's been no interest in drafting or trying to find talent to either work under Ben to replace him. It just seems like we've been very lazy on that front. I don't know if it's Ben Roethlisberger not wanting to work with, his replacement and not wanting to see his replacement, but it's frustrating because from my perspective, if you're a franchise quarterback, this is the only team that you've played with in the NFL. You want to leave it in a decent spot. So you got to put the ego aside and be willing to work with the person that is going to replace you, especially when you're going out on your own terms. Like, they're letting you leave on your own terms. They're not benching you for the guy. So a little frustrated, but we will miss him.
That was a nice shot at Eli Manning. Nice little subtle shot. Like, we're not benching you. You're going out on your terms.
You're just gonna leave on your own terms. Yeah.
It is a couple of things that are really bad about the situation. One of them is you don't have really anybody who can step in. And part of that is on Roethlisberger. I remember, wasn't it last year, 2 years ago? He was saying, I'm not gonna go out of my way to like mentor and coach up Mason Rudolph. I mean, I'm paraphrasing.
No, 100. Listen, maybe because, Roethlisberger realizes that's exercise in futility because Mason Rudolph's never going to be anything in the NFL. So you know what? Maybe he just doesn't want to waste his time with Mason. And I understand that. But however, if we had a decent option, that's where I'm saying it's very frustrating to see your franchise quarterback just unwilling to put in time to like foster that next generation of talent for the only team that he's ever been with in the NFL. That's
and the other downside is with Najee Harris, you might be wasting some really prime years.
Yeah.
If you can't find anybody right away.
Exactly. Like you have good talent. Like, if you can't find somebody to throw to Claypool and Washington and really like you have young talent on the team and then to just not be able to get that. So we'll see. Maybe they draft and maybe they get someone decent. I don't think it's going to happen. I feel like 2022 is going to be the year of them scrambling and trying to find somebody with Mason Rudolph at the helm. But all right, I don't want to, keep dogging my team too much.
And that was Steelers segment with Nicole Russo.
Exactly.
Well, I actually had a couple of shout outs because I can't watch the games where I am because of the regional networks and the fact that I have 2 daughters who don't like football. So we watch storybots. But my first things I saw on Twitter were Justin Herbert, local guy from here, UO quarterback, the really fun stat of the fastest quarterback in NFL history to 700 completions. Did it in 27 games, which is kind of crazy, but also a dumb stat. And then Adrian Peterson, becoming the 4th running back to get to 120 rushing touchdowns, top 10 all time and most career TDs. So it's great to see him still trying to chug along, even though it's
back at it. I was going to say I feel like he's been in the league ever since I started watching football.
I think Kyler Murray was crawling around on all 4s.
Yeah. My God. I mean, we're talking about Ben and we forget that there's some people in the league just as long as him playing at different positions. But all right.
My Twitter thing though is painful and it very well might make my skin catch fire, but I'm going with the Patriots and specifically Bill Belichick, who not preseason, but with the Patriots were 1-3 at the start of the year. Bill Belichick was 40-1 to win Coach of the Year. And since then, New England has won 8 of 9, and Belichick is now the front runner to win Coach of the Year. So we went from 40-1 odds to plus 125 at DraftKings, and he leapfrogged Cliff Kingsbury of Arizona. And similarly, the Patriots have climbed from plus 2,800 preseason to win a Super Bowl to the 3rd best odds at plus 700. And fortunately, that did not get my skin on fire, but yeah, I caught that on Twitter, and that was pretty incredible to see that big of a jump.
I will say, I think Ian and I were both guilty of earlier on in the season when it was the big Belichick versus Brady matchup, the Bucs were going up against the Patriots. I mean, I was team Brady. I was like, Belichick was nothing. Like the Patriots were nothing without Brady, I think. And Belichick really impressed me. Like he was giving Brady so many looks. So yeah, I would not have bet on like I did not think the Patriots were going to be on the run that they were early in the season. So I definitely did not have, unfortunately, a bet on Belichick for coach of the year. But if you did, if you are a Patriots fan, good on you. But yeah, I mean, those odds are nuts.
And it's still coming, apparently, that recently any bet, if there's one bet that comes on Cliff Kingsbury to win coach of the year, there's over a dozen that goes on Belichick. So even with, I mean, it's still, you still get a decent payout.
Yeah.
More or less on these futures, but you're not getting that 40-1 again. I don't know when the next time you're going to get 40-1 on Belichick. It's going to be like, if you see 40-1 and Bill Belichick is breathing on the sideline, you put money on Bill Belichick to win coach of the year.
So listen, if you had that, if you got in early, congratulations, because you might be looking at a pretty sizable payout. So yeah, that's cool. I actually hadn't been keeping up with the coach of the year odds. So that is good to know. And if you want to know those odds, you can usually find them at PlayAZ.com, which Grant, you run. Yeah, it's behind your shoulder, but you can also find them at thelines.com, odds on all of the markets, and they compare and contrast between all of the different sports books so you can make sure that you are getting the best odds available. So go ahead and check out our sites, everyone. All right, should we take it to Fantasy Island? Are we ready to talk some fantasy football?
Island.
All right, I have a few little tidbits. So Ezekiel Elliott is nursing a knee injury. He is expected to suit up and play for the Cowboys against Washington, but with that knee injury, it might be worth getting Tony Pollard if he is available on those waivers. Also, with Derrick Henry still out, try to see if Hilliard or Foreman for the Titans are available. They're going up against the Jaguars in NFL Week 14, who rank 17th in rushing defense DVOA. So these two starters could be getting the ball quite often. Hilliard had 12 attempts for 131 yards in their last game. They are coming off a bye, but 2 games ago. And Foreman had 19 attempts for 109 yards. And I don't know about you, but those are pretty solid stats when it comes to DFS. So I wouldn't mind picking them up if they are still available.
For sure. For sure. Well, mine is, I really only have one big one and kind of one side note that's related, but I'm not alone that there's a lot of eyes on Alvin Kamara as he makes his way back after what they called an MCL sprain. He hasn't played since week 9. Saints have lost 4 straight since then. And for over a month, he's been dealing with this injury, but it looks like he should return Sunday. Reports are saying that he's been practicing the last week and a half, and he's on pace to make his way back. And it feels like it's the right time, mostly because New Orleans is playing the New York Jets, the football Jets this week. And to have a guy come back who's been your workhorse the last couple of years for a team that really needs an offensive spark.
Yes.
Kamara can run the ball, catch it out of the backfield. He'll kick it if you want him to. He's like Boobie Miles. And with Mark Ingram entering COVID protocols, possibly could make it back, but I haven't seen a report that he will. Kamara will see a lot of action, and potentially that could free up some Taysom Hill numbers as well. And with Hill likely under center, and he racked up 100 rushing yards last week, he could probably add a little bit as well if you handcuff the two.
Yeah,
but Alvin Kamara is the number one, I think.
Most of the stuff I'm seeing from Taysom Hill is if you want to roster him, don't expect it to be receptions or passes that are getting you the points. It's going to be his potential to maybe rush for you. So
for sure.
I have seen a lot on that as well. So agree with you there, just keep, obviously waiver wire deadlines are coming up, but you got to keep an eye on those injury reports. And obviously sometimes it's a gamble because you don't know, but if they're seen practicing, good chance they're going to be in the game.
Yeah. And the Jets are like a practice squad anyway, right? They've given up the most points this season in the NFL, the most yards in the NFL. They've given up the most fantasy points to running backs in the NFL. So this is like Alvin Kamara walking down the street to a local high school and just getting. I will say,
I was just in an event at MetLife Stadium, which was really cool. Our work was able to go to a conference there, and we were able to do some football drills on the field at Jet Stadium. And I talk a lot of crap about professional football players, but let me tell you, I almost killed myself multiple times on very simple drills. I was doing them in heels, but still no excuse. I did try to catch a kickoff, which was basically them just like putting the ball in a machine. And I decided to go to the Nerf ball, the Nerf football section. And I almost like tripped and fell and killed myself and like tore an ACL just trying to catch a Nerf ball. So, I had to say, like, I mean, obviously I'm not getting paid millions of dollars to strut my athletic prowess out there, but I gotta give them credit. It's a lot harder than it looks.
I'm not saying I could do it.
Embarrass myself
I'm not
out there.
saying that I could do it better than them.
Definitely not.
I'm saying there are other people who can do it better than them. So find someone else.
That is not us. That are not us. I almost said, like, I hope that the team just rented out like one of the suites that we didn't know about and just was entertained watching all these business people like trying to throw a football. I actually got asked by one of the people if I had ever held a football before. And I was like, okay, that's a little rude, guys. Come on. Yes, I have. But yeah, so even the worst in the league I'll give them props.
For all we know, the Jets front office was in one of those suites looking for like a invincible type of moment.
I hope like that they were either scouting or if they weren't scouting, they got a ton of free entertainment by watching us down there trying to do the most basic football drills and failing miserably. But all right, that means it's time to get back in the boat, not the plane. We got to get back in the boat and take it to the mainland. There you go. Row your boat. All right, we have 2 final segments, and that means it's time for promo party. I'm going to lead this one off. Right now, FanDuel is offering new users the chance to bet $5, win $150 on the Ravens versus Browns game. The promotion runs through December 12th before kickoff. So the best part of these FanDuel promos right now, and Ian and I have said this time and time again, is that they pay cash. They do not pay free bets. You don't see that a lot with new user promos. So if you are not a user with FanDuel, this is a great value here. Here's how it works. You need to register, make a qualifying first-time deposit, and then place your first real money wager on FanDuel on either the Ravens or Browns to win their matchup. All winning bets are fulfilled within 72 hours. And again, this is going to be paid out in cash, and it is in-app only. So while you can sign up using the links on either PlayAZ.com or thelines.com or PlayUSA.com, use those links and then make sure you download the app so you are able to opt into this promotion. Because if you are on the desktop version, you're not going to see it pop up. Anything you want to add to that one? I think I probably covered it all.
That was a great one. I love that one. I just have a small one to add.
Yes.
It's BetMGM. They are offering if you bet $10 for your team and your team scores a touchdown, you win $200 in free bets, and it'll be paid out in 2 $100 free bets. So all you got to do is put $10 down on a team, and if they score a TD, you win $200 in free bets.
And those are good ones too, because again, you're not really sweating it too much, right? We've said these are kind of no-brainers or the closest to free money quote that you're going to see because, well, unless you're betting on the Texans, but it's very likely that they are going to score a touchdown in the game. So it's something that usually you're not really having to sweat the outcome of a game because once a touchdown scored, you're going to get those free bets. Sure. But yeah, I like that one as well. So if you're not a customer with BetMGM, go ahead and sign up. And that's going to end it for promo party. All right, it's time for prop lock and drop it. And this is exciting because you could really make or break Ian's season. I'm hoping you break it. Obviously, that's a lot. He's putting a lot of pressure on you, but I'll go ahead and go first. So we have the Bills are going up against Tom Brady and the Bucks after what we've already described as a tough loss on Monday Night Football against the Patriots. The Tampa Bay pass defense ranked 7th in terms of DVOA, and couple that with the fact that Cole Beasley, while targeted heavily early on in the season, has seen just about 3.75 targets on average the last 4 games. So I'm going to go ahead and take Cole Beasley under 40.5 receiving yards at -115 on DraftKings Sportsbook for my prop of the week. What do you got?
That's pretty good. Mine, it really depends on your perspective if I'm going to make or break, if I'm sabotaging or helping. But I'm going back to the Saints versus New York Jets. Taysom Hill to throw 1 touchdown and rush for 1 touchdown at +300. All the above we said about the Jets, that defense, that off the hinges swinging gate of a defense. They'll obviously be keeping tabs on Kamara if it comes back, when he comes back, and they'll probably fail, but there's more opportunities for Taysom Hill to capitalize against this Jets defense, this sleep number memory foam of a defense that has a league worst 4 interceptions. It's very porous. So it's a way for Taysom Hill to at least get some confidence back if he hasn't gotten it back already during the practice week. He will be running the ball for sure. I figure he at least gets 1 rushing touchdown easily. It's just the passing touchdown. But I mean, we'll see. As long as he doesn't throw the ball 40 times like he did last week, even with a splint on a finger, I feel like he could still get throw touchdown, rush a touchdown against this Jets defense.
I like this one as well. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about these picks. As always, if you are betting this weekend, good luck. If you are not and you're just watching the games, enjoy, and we will see you all next Friday. Thank you again, Grant, so much for filling in. I had a blast doing this show with you, and we'll see you guys next Friday.